Good evening. Thank you for joining us. We're going to go ahead and get started. It is 6:30. We're going to call a special city council meeting to order and determine a quorum is present. A quorum is present. We have Mr. Paul joining us via Zoom. We will forego the invocation tonight and proceed directly to items of new business. 6.1, we have a public hearing on application from Ebis Holbrook Maverick Land Surveying Company for a replat which will create two lots from a tract of land, being a 1.069 acre tract of land establishing lots 14A and 14B, Block County Block 5778, Castle Hills subdivision, Castle Hills, Texas, as recorded in volume 980, page 393 of the deed and plat record of Bear County. It is 6:32 and we're going to open the public hearing. If there's anybody that would like to speak, you can come up and state your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Evan Haberman. I live at 210 South Winston Lane. And to buttress what the Albrecht's question about, my mail was sent on the 14th for the meeting on the 22nd, and that they didn't clearly state the address. And the other part is that on my letter, it shows that the meeting was supposed to be in 2020 instead of 2021. And I just wonder what other things have been overlooked or swept under the rug. I'm worried about that. Secondly is the drain. We had 4.5 inches. I'm the next house down, and with the 4.5 inches of rain, we had at least 2 inches of water going across our yard, front and back. On the side door, it was within an inch of the back door. At some point, there's going to be a second driveway, and I was wondering if that's been included in the drainage program, how much impervious, whether it's going to be a double wide or a single wide, and how big the house is. Now, the house is probably far enough back, it won't directly affect my house, but 3/4 of the lot does affect my house on drainage with that much water. And that's my concern. Do they look in, how big is the house, and do they factor in 2 driveways, and then at what widths? That's my concern.
Okay, sir, thank you. If we have nobody else signed up to speak, we will close the public hearing at 6:34 and proceed to item 6.2, discussion and possible action on the application from Ebis Holbrook Maverick Land Surveying Company for a replat which will create 2 lots from a tract of land, being a 1.069 acre tract of land establishing lots 14A and 14B, Block County Block 5778, Castle Hills subdivision, Castle Hills, Texas, as recorded in volume 980, page 393 of the deed and plat record of Bear County. Possible executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071, consultation with attorney. Mr. Rapley.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a follow-up from when City Council denied the replat on April 22nd. The applicant and his engineer has worked to correct the areas identified in the denial. Our city engineer has recommended a conditional approval. However, the applicant will still have minor areas to address. The conditional approval letter is in the backup there for your review, which will have to be addressed as he moves forward. Applicant is here and can speak to that. And then Joe Artiano, our city engineer, is on the Zoom as well, if you have any questions for him.
Thank you, Mr. Rapley. Do we have a motion? Mr. May.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the City Council adopt resolution number 2021-05-11 as stated with the conditions.
Thank you, Mr. May. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Do we have any discussion? Mr. Gregory?
This is for our city attorney. I just want to make sure that any mistakes made in the letter that was mailed out can't trip up this meeting. Is that correct, or is it moon correct?
I believe those issues have become moot, Mr. Gregory.
Thank you.
And Mr. Schnall, can you elaborate to council that by coming back, we had the 15 days per state law for this applicant to address what needed to be done by our city engineer. And so
Well,
we had-
the new state law, which became effective September 1 of 2019, provided that the applicant had an unlimited amount of time to address and respond to the denial. The only issues that the council can continue to look at are the issues that were raised in the denial. Once the applicant resubmitted with corrective information, it started a 15-day time clock, which is why we had to do a special meeting tonight rather than wait and do it at the regular meeting next Tuesday evening. And so I don't remember whether this was day 13 or 14 or 15, Mr. Rapley, but that's the reason we had to do the special meeting. The conditions that are listed in the resolution that is the subject of the motion are 3 of the same issues that were raised at the point of denial. But the applicant has, to the satisfaction of our city attorney, addressed the other 2 issues. So it is appropriate for the council to move forward this evening if they wish.
Thank you, Mr. Schnall. Mr. Joyce?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm not sure if this is one of the questions that is appropriate to ask based on the timing, but I did want to ask Mr. Arteritano if he's here. Actually, I don't see him on the Zoom. But in any event, I'd just like a very brief, oh, there he is. A very brief explanation of the drainage plan. I apologize. I missed the first meeting there a week or so ago, and I'm a little behind. I don't understand what's happening with the drainage, particularly in view of the gentleman's question.
Yes, we looked at their drainage plan. The additional impervious cover, due to the size of the lot, was deemed to be not significant to where it would cause an increase of flow at the property boundary, and therefore we had no objection to it.
Okay, thank you. And then if I may, just a quick question of the applicant, and this is out of curiosity. Just on that line that divides the 2 properties, why doesn't it simply go straight across? Why does it bump around there?
Which line are you referring
I'm talking about, oh gosh, where's my direction here? I guess it would be more, and the east-west division that picks up roughly midway at the end of the driveway. There's a line that picks up and heads, I guess, west, and then goes up and down before it hits the other property line.
So the boundary lines are drawn to conform to the city code. So there is our structure that's going to be renovated that has a carport and a garage.
Oh, so there's a structure there.
Yeah, and so the garage is going to remain, the carport is going to be removed. And for that to conform to the city code with the setbacks, it has to have kind of a kink in it.
Okay.
And that nobody likes it, but that's, to conform to it. And there's plenty of room there for driveway once that carport's removed.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Yes.
And I think Councilman Joyce, that's in number 1 on the city engineer's letter there. So.
Okay, thanks.
Any further questions, council?
And Mr. Stahl, what is the difference between a conditional approval and an approval?
Well, the conditional approval allows the applicant to keep going without the necessity of coming back to the governing body. And it does mean that the approval is dependent upon the applicant satisfying the conditions to the satisfaction of the city engineer.
So if something else arises that hasn't been noted now, it's too late?
Yes, sir. it is too late.
Thank you.
This is Joe Arturano. I would like to point out one thing. The plat that is shown in the packet is not the latest copy. The revised plat, the last plat that we looked at, showed the easement to go all the way back to the line to the back lot. So the plat being shown in the packet right now is not correct.
Is there a way to get a correct copy, Mr. Mayor? This one is not correct.
Yeah, that was kind of my thinking, Mr. Schnall. Is it problematic if we know that the plat that we have is not correct?
Well, you're relying on the expertise and opinion of your city engineer. I don't know whether the city engineer has provided Mr. Rapley with the latest drawing of the plat, but if you do not act tonight to conditionally approve, it is almost certainly going to be too late to do anything. And then this replat will be deemed approved by state law. Because there's just no way to give 3 days, 72 hours notice of another meeting before day 16 after the applicant submitted its corrections to the replat.
So we're doomed to go ahead and act on incorrect information or not complete information, I should say?
Mr. Paul, I saw Mr. Rapley on the video. I don't know whether he was handing out the final plat as our engineer had indicated, or something else. So perhaps we could see what Mr. Rapley can say when he returns.
That's what he's handing out, and we're passing it down the line. He's
Okay.
also getting a few more copies for us.
Thank you, Mr. Joyce.
You're welcome, sir.
I also have a few enlarged copies too, if you need to see.
Okay. Mr. Isbrand, would you like to see this? I'm good, sir. Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, I don't know if it's going to be possible for it to be put up on screen so Mr. Paul can see it.
I'm just gonna go by feel. Hey, what else I got here?
Mr. Paul, would you like me to take a photo of this and text it to you so you can at least look at it via photo?
If you have it, that'd be great.
Sure.
Mr. Gregory, do you have any more questions?
Not at this moment.
I'll do it, Councilman. Oh, you got it?
Can
Okay,
you-
we're gonna
Yeah, go ahead.
We're gonna get this to you, Mr. Paul, real quick, and then we will take a final vote.
Can I have a question while we're waiting on this,
Absolutely.
or a comment? In regards to the citizen at 210 South Winston Lane, he has some legitimate questions and concerns, but I think, as if I'm hearing it correctly, the majority of his questions, and there weren't many, but his concerns will be in fact addressed in the event that when they start construction of anything, that's when they're going to have to jump through the hoops of the drainage, the driveway, the impervious covers, and all this type of thing. And is that correct, Mr. Rapley?
Yes, Mr. Paul, that is correct.
So this is just, again, we've had this before. We're just, according to ordinances, we're just moving the lines on a piece of property that the ordinance allow these lines to be set and reset. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Paul, are you comfortable voting now?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, council. Next up, we have items, announcements by mayor and city council members. Do we have any announcements, council? In that case, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, I
Mr.
move that we adjourn.
Second? Mr. Joyce, all in favor? Unanimous. Thank you so much, council. At 6:46, meeting is adjourned. Thank you all so much.